I'm Gary Butterfield.
I'm Gwen Static.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we talk about superheroes getting super old and dying or something. We don't actually know what's going to happen at the end of this comic just yet. We are once again joined by the fabulous Gwen. Gwen, thank you for guesting and for bringing Old Man Logan to our attention. Do you have any good Wolverine jokes off the top of your head? Just to put you on the spot.
Not off the top of my head. I do have this trivia fact that's burning a hole in my pocket.
Give it.
Jeremy, you've never read Old Man Logan before this second, right?
I have not.
Have you ever heard of Spider-Man Reign?
I don't think so. Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, similar vibe. It's about Spider-Man being old and everyone around him having already died. The comic kind of sucks. It's basically Dark Knight Returns, but with Spider-Man. But the one scene I'll never forget is Spider-Man crying over Mary Jane's grave because what killed her was his radioactive Spider-Man demon.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, the spider
I
sperm.
have heard about this. Yeah.
It's a J. Michael Straczynski joint, isn't it?
No, actually, it's this artist named Kare Andrews who wrote Andrew.
Wrote Kare Andrews. Okay, because I knew Kare Andrews as an artist.
Yes.
I thought that J. Michael Straczynski did a lot of the Goblin Twins.
Yes,
and like a
same
bunch
era.
of dumb Spider-Man stuff, but I guess didn't do the radioactive super sperm.
Yeah,
he probably had a variant of the radioactive super sperm. I don't remember, but it didn't kill Mary Jane in the Straczynski comics. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
The cover of that I've seen that cover a bunch. I didn't recognize Spider-Man Reign as the name, but him hugging the gravestone is very it's
iconic.
I mean, I just like. You guys ever try to hug a gravestone? Like, don't hug back. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Hey, they should make ones that do. They should make.
No, they should not.
Gravestones you can hug.
Fuck them. What are you talking about?
I fuck with the Marie Lambeau. I find Marie Lambeau's gravestone. Give her my sperm.
Huggable gravestones is a very Cinco product. Oh my god.
Yeah, just like, and the arms animate and hug you back.
Do not like.
Yeah, I would think that Spider-Man's sperm would only make Mary Jane's womb stronger, like Hulk,
and give it spider powers. Yeah,
it did.
Yeah,
it
she
did.
shoots web out of her puss.
It made her stomach. It made her womb too strong, and it took over the rest of her body. That's how she died. So.
Her womb had the strength, speed, and agility of a spider.
Yeah, which is not a good thing for your womb to have at any point in time.
Agile womb is a condition. You don't want to go into the gyno and say, "Hey, I got agile womb."
You played a lot more Darkest Dungeon 2 than I have. Is that a condition your guys can get in Darkest Dungeon
Agile
2?
womb.
Agile womb.
They fall in love, but they don't fuck.
Oh,
it's too bleak to fuck.
Too bleak to fuck.
So the wombs stay out of it. I assume everyone's infertile in the world of Darkest Dungeon 2. It's one of the bleaker video game universes I've seen. So.
Speaking of bleak, let's find out what happened to Wolverine in the past to make him into a pacifist. We are going to pick up at Wolverine number 70. I think this is part 5 of our Old Man Logan series. And we left the last issue by saying Wolverine was about to confess what actually broke him 50 years ago. And we jump right into that. We go back into the past where Jubilee has received a ton of...
Just real quick on the cover, can I?
Yeah.
It's real fun to imagine Omega Red. His mouth is next to Sabretooth's arm, but it looks like he's trying to gnaw a bolt.
Yeah, just
off of something. Like he's trying to disassemble a water heater with his teeth.
Just chew up a little bit of that glove. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jubilee gets a bunch of warnings at the X Mansion, and then it explodes, and then Jubilee is just dead with a fucking piece of wood through her head. And a bunch of villains show up, and not necessarily X-Men villains either, which I think is kind of fun. They are intent. They come in and they're like, "This is the big one," and I just like, "The big what? What are we talking about?" There's a lot of
sounds like Strife.
Yeah. This is definitely
hello,
Strife.
Wolverine. This is the big one. Perfect Strife dialogue.
I'm gonna start texting you like that. Hello, Gary. This is the big one. Jeremy, I'm at your door.
Strife, who doesn't say anything that isn't like in fucking iambic pentameter, like Shakespearean villain shit. Like and there's a reason why these voices are off. Like, spoiler, this isn't Strife.
Mm-hmm.
Teamed up with Dr. Octopus, Claw, the Shocker, and Mr. Hyde.
Earnestly, how much do you think that was Miller's intentional writing that doesn't sound like Strife?
0.
Or just Miller's, one line is
positively 0.
Absolutely 0.
There's no way that was intentional. This is such a funny mixed bag of villains. this fucking royal sampler of, you hit random on Marvel Snap, and this is your team.
He was definitely just throwing darts at a guide to the Marvel universe or something like that.
Yeah. It's cool though to see Steve Niven draw some characters he would never draw. Like how likely was it for this artist to get a shot at Mr. Hyde? And he looks cool.
Yeah.
It's like he's singing a formal Hulk.
You have something. I've got Hulk prom. Can you hook me something up? I need to go to Hulk prom.
No, not a Joe.
Hulk most romantic one there is. Joe, date it. So they start beating up on Wolverine.
And Gwen, you mentioned this in the last episode of the podcast. This is where they're like it's like they've just discovered team ups. So like what how many supervillains there are for superheroes? We could just all team up and beat your ass. It's like the first time that they ever thought to form a team ever.
And it's worth noting, this is an idea that Mark Millar thinks is the coolest idea in the world. This is the exact idea behind Wanted, too. All the supervillains teamed up and killed all the heroes.
Yeah, it is very just classic Miller stuff. And, so the idea is, when I talk about Mark Millar being cynical about superhero comics, this is part of what I'm talking about. Where like the mere idea that the villains outnumber the heroes is something he cannot think past and chooses not to. He's like, oh yeah, it makes no sense. Why don't all of them just devour the few? And there's a suspension of disbelief that happens when we read comics where you're like, yeah, they wouldn't do that though, because they're all assholes and they all have different goals. This is them these are all lowlifes and crooks who don't get along. That's the real reason in the comics. Mark Millar is always just like, what if they didn't?
Yeah.
This presupposes what if they did get along?
I think the villain that specifically just made me go, wait a second, I know for a fact that they wouldn't get along with this was Blob. I was just like, Blob, why would Blob do this? He's not that kind of villain. Well,
Magneto does it too. Magneto ends up being part of those people, and that's, Magneto's arguably not a villain. It's here, but like through numerous times throughout his history. The weird thing is that when Mark Millar comes up with these ideas, I think that they do have mixed success. Like, I think this is kind of irritating to just, the idea that they're just, everyone's going to team together. And I kind of stress this enough. This isn't what is actually happening. This is what's happening elsewhere in the world, but not in the scene.
Yeah.
Because what we'll talk about. One of my favorite executions of something similar to that is he had his Spider-Man run, which I have a lot of affection for. I haven't reread it, so I don't know if it holds up. But he has somebody talk to him. He's like, hey, you ever notice how most of the people you fight are just jabronis with super suits? Like, why do you think that is? And Spider-Man's like, I don't know. And the idea was that somebody out there in the government is creating those villains to stop superheroes from like dealing with anything real. If there really was a superhero, they could end poverty. They could fight dictators. They could do all that stuff. But he has to keep them busy with fucking Stiltman. Robbing banks.
Yeah, no, that Spider-Man run's pretty good. Like, in terms
I remember liking that
stuff.
idea.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a cool idea. Like, the idea that Spider-Man has just been fighting just the dumbest guys with power suits for his entire life. Like, what could he do if he wasn't busy with all this small change? Maybe some actual good. I thought that was a cool idea. It's a kind of a variation on this one where he takes these ideas you can pull out of a superhero trope list and kind of turn them on their end a little bit. Another ding, I would say, a cool thing that Mark Millar sometimes does.
Yeah.
That he does not do in this comic. The some X-Man, indistinguishable who it is, says, hey, everybody get in the tunnels.
It could be Kitty Pryde, but who knows? It could be
the hair color
is
wrong, I thought, but yeah.
Oh yeah, you're not wrong on that. And the next few pages are just like Wolverine being able to murder a bunch of supervillains, right? Like no problem.
Yep.
In such a fashion is like you just kind of wonder like why we weren't doing this before. Like this seems like a real easy. Like I bet if Dr. Octopus got murdered by Wolverine, there would be no other Dr. Octopuses around, right? Like they'd be like, that seems like a bad thing to do.
And they explain it in the book why that's apparently happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like why he's having such an easy time, but it still reads as weak sauce. It's one of those things where something doesn't make sense, and then a character just like slaps a verbal band-aid over it.
Yeah.
And it's like that Wolverine can fight all these guys easily and just kill them all in one shot, and that he gets fooled by what we're going to find out is ultimately an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Here. as he kills them all, he's telling the children to run. Everyone's acting very shocked by what's happening.
Yeah.
Here.
And he
kills the last one.
Yeah, this is extremely violent. Like this is
Yep.
horrifying. And eventually it's just him and Bullseye. And they trade a bunch of hits, and eventually he just is able to stab him.
This makes no fucking sense. He's like, we fought for 90 minutes, there. And it turns out Bullseye was fucking Jubilee.
Yep.
Who not only did we already see get impaled in the head with a board,
but could not.
But also Jubilee couldn't hold off Wolverine for 90 minutes.
I don't care what dream world we're in. Wolverine would not. I don't care what kind of fight or brainwashing thing. Jubilee would not be able to like run away from Wolverine for 90 minutes if he wanted to kill her.
Again, Mark Millar can only hold one idea in his head. So he wanted to have this final fight, and then he wanted to have the person it was be revealed to somebody who was close to Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
But he hadn't like updated his file since the 90s or something. So it's Jubilee. It's not Armor. It's not Kitty Pryde. Like somebody who could theoretically maybe fight. It's Jubilee. And this is pre-Vampire Jubilee.
Yeah, this is not even powered up to Jubilee.
I really like Bullseye says, why are you doing this? You're supposed to be our friends. And Wolverine goes, huh? Very un-Wolverine like. And who did it? It turns out to be Mysterio. Here. Now, it's worth noting, this is not our Mysterio. I didn't realize this until I was reading about this, because it was like, this is above Mysterio's pay grade. Mysterio does special effects, like Industrial Light and Magic. This is Mysterio 3, who has mind control powers. It's not just special effects. So he didn't use smoke and mirrors to turn all the X-Men into supervillains. He was controlling Wolverine's mind.
I would very much rather it have been smoke and mirrors. Like I just want to see like the whole issue of the setup process.
It'd be amazing, like the MythBusters.
Exactly. Yeah. And this caps off with a double page spread of all of the X-Men completely dead, and Wolverine obviously being completely horrified by it. And I don't know, man. I don't know even if brainwashed, enraged Wolverine could take on all of the X-Men and manage to murder all of them. But it doesn't matter because this is comic books.
Absolutely fucking could not.
And they say that again. They put a little verbal band-aid. They're like, Mysterio made him smell like the X-Men or smell like the villains. Also, the only reason why I won is because they hesitated. So that again, just like a little tiny one-word band-aid.
I feel like the moment that you murder the first X-Men is that's when the X-Men stop hesitating to murder you back, right? The first time that you see fucking
oh shit, Wolverine just killed Gambit. Yeah. That's fine. Oh shit, Wolverine just killed Storm. Okay,
wait, give him a chance, guys. Give everybody back up.
Yeah.
Oh no, not Havoc. Havoc's fine.
Let him work. Yeah, let him work. And it's not the first time Wolverine's turned evil. Like Wolverine was fucking death with the Apocalypse's Horseman.
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine has gotten mind controlled. All of the X-Men have been mind controlled. The X-Men must have a system in place for one of them going crazy and starting to fight. It just it's so frustrating because Mark Millar needed to get to this place that I think is kind of cool. This Wasteland's alternate future for the Marvel Universe, but he just gets there through this shitty shortcut.
I don't want to spoil a book for anybody, but there's Stephen King wrote a sequel to The Shining called Dr. Sleep, and throughout that book, which is based on the kid from The Shining, it's one of the like mysteries is he did something horrible, and it caused him to pull back from alcoholism and change his life and all this other stuff, and at the end, you finally realize, you finally get told what he thought was so horrible, and he finally I guess I am just going to spoil this book for everybody. Sorry, Dr. Sleep fans. And at the end, he confesses this to his AA group or whatever, and it's just the most banal stuff in the world. It's nothing. Everybody in the room is just listening, obviously, but as the audience, you're like, oh, that's not. I thought this was going to be way fucking worse, right? And I almost kind of wish it was that. I almost wish it was something where it didn't have to be Mark Millar sat down and was like, what's the worst thing Wolverine could do? I was like, oh, he would murder the entire X-Men, right? But I wish it was something a little bit deeper than that, of him realizing that he was on a path or blah 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 blah, and he had to pull back from that. But whatever, we get a 2-page spread of a bunch of dead X-Men, which I think is the whole point of this.
Even him
book.
Killing one X-Man,
sure,
could have caused enough guilt to kind of send him in a spiral and then the guilt could be he missed out on the big fight, because he talks about that. He ignored the big standoff that all the rest of the superheroes were having. Maybe that could be the guilt. Like
Literally
he accidentally kills Jubilee.
Could have been just been Jubilee. Could have been one.
Yeah. All we're describing here is schism, which is something that did this exact same thing. This is we actually. I just realized I've read this before. I'm describing something I have read.
Before we get too far away from this, Steve McNiven drawing characters doesn't get to draw all the time. I love the way he draws Jubilee. I don't know. There's something really aesthetically pleasing about that.
That's a great drawing of Jubilee. Mm-hmm. It's great 90s Jubilee. I love those sunglasses.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, good shit. His Mr. Sinister is good. All of this stuff is good. I love Steve McNiven. Mark Miller's like weird thing of being held up by phenomenal artists between like this and Ultimates and Civil War and stuff. Like he always gets these dream artists that elevate his stuff.
Yeah.
Make it really fun to look at.
And then we find out what he did after this, which is wander into the woods.
This is so funny.
Where the animals were scared of him, and we just get 4 goats just running away from him. And I just
oh shit, it's Wolverine.
Oh no, it's that guy. Like, see you later.
It's like he's playing Elden Ring and like the goats when the goats run away. But his plan here is to kill himself by putting his head on a train track, which is just a really irresponsible way to derail a train. It feels like it doesn't happen here, but I feel like if a train can derail from a penny, it can certainly derail from an adamantium skull.
Yeah,
I feel like they forgot that the rest of his skeleton is covered in adamantium.
It definitely seems like they forgot. Because why would you ever think this would work if you were Wolverine? Like, it's not going to penetrate your brain.
It's such a funny panel too.
It is a very funny panel.
Just, getting his head run over by the train. So he tried to commit suicide and he couldn't. You can see these things that the movie Logan took, right? So like in the movie Logan, Charles Xavier killed all the X-Men with a psychic attack. In the movie, Wolverine has a way to kill himself. He's got the adamantium bullet. You can see what they drew from the movie from here. So Wolverine says, because I did that, don't you dare make fun of me for not popping claws. And he says, I wouldn't. They're friends now.
Yeah, they have bonded through the shared trauma.
Yeah, we get a 1-page subplot with Dwight, who's the kid who found an Ant-Man helmet, who charges them 80 cents to cross a bridge. I love it. Hawkeye's like, yeah, 80 cents, stay out of trouble. He's like, have a good one. He's like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, we're always serious. And they see all the skeletons down below the bridge that he's used the Ant-Man helmet to kill.
Perfect.
Love Dwight.
Yep.
This is great.
They managed to get to Illinois, and they're driving through, and just, kind of basically just talking about all, Logan's problems. And we see behind them for the first time the Venom T-Rex with the tiny arms. And then we get a teaser saying next issue, Venom strikes. I want a whole issue of Venom T-Rex, honestly, the symbiote just popping from dinosaur to dinosaur or controlling like a fleet of dinosaurs would be so fucking good.
Yeah. Have we ever had a Venom Wolverine? That seems cool.
Have to have, right? That has to have happened.
Yeah.
I can say that there was an issue of Mighty Avengers, New Avengers when Bendis wrote, where there were a bunch of Venom symbiotes falling down on New York, and one tried to attach to Wolverine.
Chocolate Rain.
Yeah. The canonical explanation is that his healing factor rejects it too fast.
Apparently it happened in the 1960s when Wolverine was in Vietnam.
Okay, in the real life 60s. I was like, in the comics, Wolverine wasn't extant yet. Maybe some fucking wild shit to happen in like the golden age of Marvel.
Eddie Brock discovers that the U.S. Army created symbiote soldiers back in the 1960s.
Wait! The symbiotes didn't come to Earth until Spider-Man. What the fuck? That makes no sense.
Yeah. Well,
sorry. Give me a no prize for that one.
Y'all, I have to. Oh my God. A more incredible.
No prize. You have to explain it, Gwen. It's not just for pointing things out. You have to say how it could work.
This was all.
Oh, fair.
This was all revealed in an issue of Web of Venom called Venom. VE''NAM.
Wait, hold on. That might be a Battle World thing now that I'm hearing that.
Venom.
Venom.
Oh, that's respectful.
Oh yeah, no, this is
Imagine
Battle
being
World.
a
This is
Vietnam
Secret.
vet.
This is Secret Wars.
Oh, I'm gonna read that. I've read a bunch of
Because-
Secret Wars and Battle Worlds, but I'm gonna read the shit out of Venom.
Oh, Venom. Oh my god.
Yeah, Venom Nam.
Vietnam.
It's a portmanteau of the real war, and I cannot remind people enough. Country.
Actual country that exists.
That people come from who are alive today. Venom. That's so funny. God, you know how YouTube is always showing like kids react to dial-up telephone, shit like that. I would love like Vietnam reacts to reading Venom as a YouTube reaction video. It's incredible shit.
Hell?
I'm in love. I got to read that. We go over to the next issue, 71. The cover is Wolverine with a bunch of bullets in his face. Here. And this is part 6. They're being chased by this Venom T-Rex.
Yep. And they are spied upon about a very obvious Emma Frost. And
yep.
There's a cannon and a spider buggy, which obviously Hawkeye is not very good at aiming. And they are eventually... Wolverine sees ahead of them Black Bolt because Emma Frost has sent Black Bolt out, and he whispers the word "stop," and it explodes Venom off of the T-Rex. Unfortunately, this was only 6 pages, and I wanted 60 pages. R.I.P. Jeremy's personal opinions about this comic book.
I do like Black Bolt versus Venom. You know, Venom being sensitive to sound. I like it whenever Black Bolt talks.
Yep,
that always works for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this redesign of Black Bolt. I think
Black
cool.
Bolt was on the moon. Why is he here?
I think they do explain that actually in one of the other comics that takes place in this universe.
Okay.
How the Inhumans tie into
it's because he was embarrassed to be on the moon after that TV show came out. He was like, I can't be associated with this series.
Like, I'm out of here.
What TV
I don't care if
show?
Ramsey Bolton's here.
I don't remember
I'm
a
out.
TV show.
Oh man, one day I'm gonna make Gary
canon.
watch the first episode for that for like charity or something, and he's just going to be horrified.
Hell yeah!
Not all
I'm
of
excited.
the episodes, but just the first one.
Remember when they thought they could replace the X-Men with the Inhumans? What a time!
I do. Yeah, I didn't realize that the seeds for that were planted in Jonathan Hickman's Infinity thing, which I just read for the first time, which is a good comic. Like I like that event. Actually, I'd never read it before. Reading Jonathan Hickman's Avengers shit. And yeah, that's what plants the seeds for that. That's where the Terrigen Mists come to Earth and make a bunch more Inhumans. For weird rights issues. Because companies were fighting.
And y'all can watch a bunch of that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like season 4 through 6 or something, before they eventually are like, wait, this all sucks. See you later.
We didn't have to do that. Yeah. Oh shit, we'll just buy them. We'll just buy the mutants. Who gives a shit?
Now we've got Ghost Rider. Let's go.
There's a weird little thing that happens here when they arrive in this zone with Emma Frost and Black Bolt and the remaining mutants, where they do have some kind of little hints of things they don't fully explain. Like Hawkeye accuses Emma Frost of screwing everybody over. You know, the mutants fucked everybody over. They out of marriage. And is it because she married Black Bolt?
I thought it was implied that she married Red Skull, to be honest with you. Obviously, I have missed this completely. I really thought
it's hard to tell
because they keep referring to Red Skull as the president, right? Like they don't say his name, but for some reason, I just assumed that she made the deal with Red Skull to like keep a small squadron of these people alive, and that's why she was still here.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. You know, I like this little bit of Wolverine being like, "How are you so young?" And she's like, "I'm the most powerful telepath in the world. I can make you see what I want." So she's not young; she's decrepit.
Mm-hmm.
But and also this is not this weird little utopia place. She's just making them see this very ceremonial place with all these robed figures. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like this conversation when Hawkeye accuses her of something and he's like, you know what I'm talking about, and she says, I'm a survivor. He says, you had Black Bolt on your side, and they had Loki, Dormammu, and Magneto. So like I feel like she positioned herself on the opposite side of that fight, right? So I honestly cannot figure out what he's aiming for.
Do you have any idea? Gwen, do you know?
I missed. Rephrase the question for me. Sorry.
What is Emma referring to? Like what did Emma do the day the bad guys won or whatever?
I didn't get anything out of that. Like nothing specific. Okay. My assumption was just that it had something to do with her. At the time being a relatively fresh on the hero side of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least what I think Mark Miller was thinking of.
Hawkeye does call her a skank in this.
Classy.
Hawkeye, who does not speak in Hawkeye's voice at all. I hope you can keep a secret, skank. Classic. Kids. She read his mind, though. She saw what he's transporting. We haven't really talked about it. The whole time, Wolverine is assuming that they're transporting drugs, and Hawkeye is being cagey about what they're transporting.
Oh, maybe because we see them leave after this, and Doom is watching. Dr. Doom is watching over them. Maybe she married Doom.
Oh, it is in Doom's territory.
Yeah, so maybe that's
I
what
could
this
see
whole
that
thing
that
she
makes
like
sense.
maybe made like a pact with Doom to
Yeah.
kind of like leave her alone. And I could see Doom being the kind of person to be like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Doom has
It's a
long
very
time wanted
restrained use of
to
Doom.
marry an X-Man, so he's that's been one of his goals for a while.
If not Storm, he'll settle. Even though, again, just the weird, I can't imagine Doom being like, okay, I'll take this tiny portion of the country. You know, you get to have everything else, Red Skull. That's not
All
very
right.
Doom.
Like, ignore the age difference. But Doom and Magic would make a power couple, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that could be
Chewing
a
on
really
that.
fun storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see Doom at least meet her. That would be fun. I'm frustrated by this too. Earlier, they're like, thank God you're not in Doom's area because it's awful. And like, one of the cool things about Dr. Doom and Latveria is that it's pretty nice there.
Yeah.
Like, they love him. You know, Doom is definitely a villain, but he's got an attractive side to him. You know, is part of the cool thing about Doom. It's like the appealing part of fascism. You know, everything in its place, everything's very well protected. Everyone's provided for. Sometimes writers do write it as as Unterland, basically. But a lot of times, Latveria is pretty good. You know?
Yeah, not a particularly Doom moment for a Doom cameo.
Agreed. Yeah. They make it to Pym Falls, Connecticut, and Wolverine asks, why do they call it Pym Falls? You're going to find out here directly, and it's just because Pym fell there.
And his skeleton.
Yeah, and his skeleton has been there for a while.
And he's so tiny, no one found him.
That'd be incredible if Pym Falls was just this microscopic point. That's Cassie Lane. That's down the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good.
Did you notice the tiny little red dot inside Pym's head, inside his skull? I like to assume that's people who live in there because I would fucking live in there. In this world.
You'd live in Ant-Man?
You would live in Ant-Man?
Yeah,
really?
in his skull.
No way. Absolutely not.
I love Hank Pym. I'd live in his skull. It'd be great. You don't want to live in a big skull?
I don't. No.
I mean,
I want to live in a house.
Not in a universe, like,
not to get Simpsons with you, but I want to live in a nice house with my wife.
yeah, I want that too. I'm saying if I lived in the Wastelands version of the Marvel Universe.
Well, I definitely don't want to pay rent to the Hulk gang.
Yeah. I mean, the honest thing is I would live in the Kingpin zone because they treat him the best. You know, that's where things are the nicest.
Yeah, you could probably like lay low in the Kingpin zone pretty easily, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you had a
or
skull
you know,
house.
if
they would probably notice.
As long as I'm fantasizing, maybe I'd be a mutant. Who gives a shit? I'd hang out with Emma Frost. Did you see all these little cars driving out of Pym's skull? I love that they did a little tunnel for it.
What page are you on? What are you looking at? Like the big spread?
The big double page spread.
Are those trees?
Yeah, look at. No, look closer on the road that's coming out of his skull.
Oh, I guess
there's little cars.
These are little cars going through like a little fucking Pym tunnel, I guess.
Yeah, a Pym tunnel. We got a Pym tunnel going on.
That's so weird. Why did you guys just drill a hole in the top? I didn't even see this. Oh my god. God, you have to really zoom in. Like that is actually they are literally just drilled a hole in that dude's head to drive through.
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic.
Incredible. So that you have to drive through Pym's skull to get to New York City, which is the Red Skull's totalitarian zone.
Yep. I love the statue that he's made of himself, where one of his hands is just holding all of the dead Avengers.
All the Avengers.
Dude, this is great.
He's got a handful of Avengers action figures.
Say what you want. Like supervillains with this kind of style will always win me over. Like this is fantastic. Like not only am I building a statue to myself, where I am cock forward, I'm also holding all of my dead enemies in my hand. Like this is
hell yeah.
This is exactly what you want from a supervillain.
The dead enemies in the hand is a real nice touch. right? And you get
Yeah,
Alicia
horror movie.
Masters, commission her for it. It's
sure.
great.
What is she
Oh,
doing?
yeah.
Yeah, well, she's probably
Yeah.
bored.
Doesn't have a
you know,
boyfriend anymore,
yeah.
I heard.
Yeah, I'm not quite a superhero. Don't kill me, please. This is where Hawkeye comes clean about what's going on. He's like, you think this is drugs. That's just a cover story, dude. Hawkeye uses his famous catchphrase. And says, that's not what I'm doing. We're still going to get you back home. We're going to give you your money. He's talking about them being, why are they dealing with me? And we find out what he's doing. And what he's doing is he's selling or giving a bunch of super serum to Fat Hitler.
Fat Hitler? That's the only thing I can think of in this. Yeah, Fat Hitler.
It's such a choice to draw this guy this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really weird choice.
Yeah.
The idea, this is supposed to be a resistance. And these are super serum things that will make 99 super soldiers. So they can fight back against Red Skull.
Yep.
Take back the world.
And he's only got one price. He's only got one request, is that he wants some of the super serum to be able to fight alongside the Rebel Alliance. And they're like, well, that seems stupid, but yeah, sure. And because, of course, all of this is just a sting operation. Somebody comes in with a machine gun and lights up Wolverine. Fat Hitler shoots Hawkeye immediately, and this was all a setup so that they could capture Hawkeye.
Yeah, this is S.H.I.E.L.D., who now works for Red Skull.
Yep.
He controls it. There is no hope. It's a bleak universe, kids. They execute Hawkeye. Dead Hawkeye, to be continued.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 indeed.
Earnestly, Clint,
You
were a big fool.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. No assurances, no nothing. We get 72. This is a very iconic cover of Red Skull dressed up in Captain America's uniform, being real gross. Standing out. This is the last proper issue, and the next one's a giant size for the finale. This is part 7. And we see the moment where Red Skull got his revenge on Captain America.
Finally.
Here. Yep. In the crumbling, the Capitol building being destroyed.
Yep. And he tells Captain America that he got the White House and the rest of the villains are chopping up America. And then he presumably pushes his eyes into his brain. And then we cut to the present time where he is just looking over all of his collected memorabilia because he is outside of Thor's hammer, which he can't pick up. He's collected all like pieces of the Avengers ensemble, including just one of Thing's hands, which
I love that so much.
Honestly, the Red Skull in this issue is so dumb and so incredibly over the top that that it's like Mr. Sinister, right? Where I just have to love him at that point.
It's real campy.
This is one of my favorite edgelordy things in the comic. I actually think Red Skull, having defeated his enemies, dressed in their old clothes, is a perfect move.
It's real good. Anytime we see one of these trophy cases, I always like it too because it becomes like fun spot the detail. I love Silver Surfer's surfboard broken in half.
That's a
on
good
the left.
one.
Like that's real great. I would have been wearing the cape, Doctor Strange's cape. That thing can do stuff.
One of Angel's wings, Ghost Rider's jacket, Punisher's gear. Weirdly, a pair of the Hulk's shorts. That doesn't make sense.
That's a weird choice to grab just his shorts. Finally.
But also he's alive.
Yeah, that is also true. He just shed those.
I just noticed that he had
not to go
Amadeus
too far
Cho's.
ahead, when we do see the Hulk later, he would not fit into those pants anymore.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess those are Amadeus Cho's shorts.
Good point.
Or Red Hulk shorts.
Did Amadeus Cho get Hulk powers? Good for him.
Oh yeah. He becomes the awesome Hulk. It's a fun run.
It's pretty funny that he has Wolverine's mask here. I just picked up on that.
Like, and what a bummer that Wolverine doesn't grab it on his way out. Doesn't that seem like something that'd be a real no-brainer? So he's talking to all his trophies. He has a wife here too. Where he's like, my wife considers me morbid. I don't know who his wife is unless that's supposed to be Emma Frost. I assume
that's what gave me the Emma Frost vibes, but I'm pretty sure that she married Dr. Doom or something. Who the fuck knows at this point?
Yeah. We don't know. One of his commanders comes in and says, we found those corpses. Should I say they're unavailable since you're playing with your toys? He goes, no, send them in. Uh, and he sends him in, and all these goons have never seen this before, and they're like pretty spooked out because look, there's the Iron Man suit. It's right there.
Dude, in the
You know?
in the panel where Fat Hitler is walking in on the bottom left hand side, he just has like a Beast torso. He has like a bust, but like the real fucking chest and head of Beast in this thing.
Oh,
that's fucking
yeah,
foul.
wow.
That is awful.
That's pretty rough. I didn't even notice that.
know.
Yeah, they couldn't collect anything from Beast other than his shoulders,
Jesus.
his shoulders and head. Yeah, nasty. They are delivering Hawkeye for money.
Yep.
You know, this is, he wants to collect all these dead superheroes. It's an ego thing for him.
Unfortunately, Wolverine has a healing factor and begins to wake up. And we've finally done it, everybody. We finally made Wolverine mad enough to start fighting back for the first time.
He doesn't pop his claws, though. Keep in mind, that's another
Which is
thing.
Just really an excuse to give us an extended cut of Wolverine using every other superhero's tool set.
Yep.
Which,
yeah,
earnestly isn't that interesting in the grand scheme of things.
It's not a great fight. It's a weird thing where Steve McNiven is an artist who I really like, but the fight scenes are not my favorite. You know, that he does. At least in this book, they're just not directed super well. You know, and even Red Skull at this point, I'm very frustrated because he says, "Look at you! You're so pathetic. You won't even pop your adamantium claws.
Won't pop them. He just won't pop them."
Yeah. Once you stop, you just can't pop.
There's also a really terrible Red Skull line earlier where one of the goons is like, "There's something wrong with this body." Red Skull says, "Of course there is. You riddled him with bullets." Like, what?
that what the fuck? Yeah, that's a terrible line.
Yeah. And the whole, I mean, again, it's Red Skull acting really stupid because his whole point of doing this sting was to collect more dead superheroes. Like, he wanted to get Hawkeye. He has to know Wolverine's still out there. You know, he's not in his mask is in his trophy case. Like, he would maybe know Wolverine was still about. And they've met a bunch of times. You know, like, I feel like he'd recognize him and be like, "Oh, something's wrong because it's Wolverine. You fools, you brought him right into my office." But that's not the comic we're in.
Yeah.
Wolverine grabs Captain America's shield. Red Skull grabs the Black Knight's sword, the ebony blade, and they fight. And Red Skull is very frustrated because Wolverine got the shield. Wolverine gets the upper hand and cuts off Red Skull's head with the shield.
Yeah.
Yep. Lord help me, I'm going back to the old
That's
me.
it.
Yep. And he escapes. He puts on bits of Iron Man armor, blasts open the White House, and then jets out.
Because I love the idea that just like one part of Iron Man armor just works.
You don't need the entire suit to connect together.
Yeah.
Yep. The scene of him with the shorts, with the cut off shorts with the Iron Man under it, it looks like Iron Man's a never nude. Picture. It's phenomenal. Like, what a funny, dumb image. It wouldn't have been hard to make it just a whole suit. I don't know why they didn't. So he flies back, is the whole point. He doesn't quite get enough. He's running out of fuel. He can't make it. He crashes and he has to walk the rest of the way. And the big reveal is he gets there and the Hulk gang got bored and killed his family.
Did not see that coming at
Yep.
all. But yeah, murdered them pretty brutally.
Of course, all to earn a full splash page of the sound effect snick.
Snicked. Yep. Double page spread. Snicked.
Not Logan, bub. It's Wolverine.
Wolverine.
I don't know if this came out before or after that, like, kind of internet meme panel of Jubilee saying they don't actually make the noise snick. That's just him saying it.
This came out way before.
I figured it did, but like, I just like, if you think about it, him just like screaming snick at this moment though.
Oh, it's so fun. Like, just the top of his lungs.
Right? Just blood curdling scream. Yeah.
I love it. This wraps up in giant size Old Man Logan, number 1, which means it's kind of annoying to read on the app. You have to go to I hate that giant sizes are considered separate series.
I love Marvel Unlimited, but a reading order, like, how is there not a better reading order system on this fucking thing?
Yeah.
If you I didn't have this problem at all because I just went to the reading guide and it just lists them all in order, and it's at the end.
Yeah, but
but you
using
can't.
the next issue thing.
Yeah, I want to be able to just click from one issue to the next. I don't go back to a thing.
Sounds like you guys are just lazy.
God, Jeremy,
Y'all are
going
just
back.
lazy.
Skill issue. Yeah. I am lazy. This last issue where we start off in the Hulk gang's watering hole, where several members of the Hulk gang are washing up after murdering Wolverine's family, and they're very excited because one of the kids found some VHS tapes of Jim Belushi movies that they're going to watch because they're hillbillies, and that's what American hillbillies like is Jim Belushi.
Jim Belushi movies, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, Wolverine pops out. He has done popped them claws, and he murders these two as they were taking a bath. Wolverine's not wearing a shirt in the panel. We only see him from the waist up. Y'all think he's naked?
Yep. I hope so. I like Brock. Like he loves to kill naked.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Exactly the vibe that I was going for. Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been very brave for just to have him nude for the rest of the issue.
God, I would have really liked that, to be honest. I'd go full berserker mode.
Waiting for a comic on Spectrum and Corncob.tv. So he's on a killing spree, and that's basically the whole fucking issue.
Yeah.
Nothing else happens. We get some weird world building. They're at Sonny Stark's bar, which is really interesting. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a descendant of Tony Stark. It's the only thing that would make sense. Where the Hulk gang are all sitting around eating people. Because they're cannibals. That's what they do. And we get Scenester Emo Hulk.
Yeah.
Here as a featured extra.
And he doesn't last long because Wolverine comes in and just starts murdering everybody. He's put on his shirt though, so he murdered some people in a bathtub or in a river and was like, "Let me get my jeans and my boots, and then I'm ready to go." There's a thing later where he's like, "Fetch me my trench coat," and I just wanted to throw my iPad across the room, but we'll get there eventually.
It goes scene by scene where he's just sort of killing Hulk dudes, and there's way more Hulks than we've ever met until this issue.
Yes,
like. Until now, we had seen 3 Hulks, and we were under the impression, or at least I was, that there were 4 Hulks in total. No, there are dozens of Hulks.
There's an entire trailer park full of Hulks. We cut over to other Hulks celebrating the murder of Wolverine's family, and they've celebrated it by going to a whorehouse, going to a brothel.
Trucker Hulk, specifically.
Yes, Trucker Hulk at Hef's mansion. Hugh Hefner's mansion, which the madam has turned into, and we see all these ladies who have been had sex with by the Hulks. They're not hurting or anything,
They don't look happy,
which is the implication. No, they're not. They just look like they're sleeping.
Yeah,
to me,
worn out.
Yeah, very worn out. And we cut down, and we get Wolverine. Now he's in his trench coat and hat.
Where did he get the hat? Did he just find it between panels? Or did he steal it from someone?
He kills the Hulks and they explode into drops, and every once in a while one of them's gold or better, and you pick it up.
Oh yeah, it's a plus. That's a +3 hat and trench coat. That makes
sense.
Mm-hmm.
A plus on his intimidation check against these Hulks.
And he uses his classic Wolverine tagline here, which is "Try me."
Yeah, it's the same tagline that a Tickle Me Elmo has. So we cut over to Banner's lair, which is the trailer park outside of the cave that Banner lives in. And the Lady Banner.
Yeah.
The whole idea is that Banner set this up.
Yeah.
He wanted this to happen.
The other big piece of info we get on this page is that Banner is pale pink skinned, not green like the rest of the Hulks.
Yes. The way that he kills a lot of the Hulks at once is by tying one of the Hulks to a bunch of explosives that he somehow got, and then tying him to a Fantastic car and sending it into the trailer park, and blowing up the trailer park, killing a bunch of Hulks.
No more games, no more talking. I'm just here to kill you people. The dialogue in this, especially in this giant-sized issue, is just atrocious.
It's rough, and we're halfway through it. It's gonna end so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Hulk. It's just murders. I do like so he gets there. He's like, Banner, come out, and Banner is just an old man. But he punches him and he has Hulk strength.
Yeah.
I like the idea of an old man who just has Hulk strength.
Same.
Yeah.
That is a cool twist. I do like that. And lest anyone who's listening has forgotten, Wolverine's first appearance was as an antagonist for the Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which we read on this show, and it's real weird. It's mostly about Sasquatch.
It really is.
Or mostly about
It's
yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah, it
almost
is.
entirely
it's a
about-
weird comic.
or
yeah.
Wendigo and stuff. Yeah.
Len Wein was good for his time, but I don't think has aged very well as a writer. No.
Mm.
Feels like a fever dream that this
No.
podcast spent like an inordinate amount of time watching and reading Hulk stuff. Like we spent like a year talking about the Hulk for some reason.
Yeah. We it's primarily X-Men. Secondarily a Hulk podcast. We're as surprised as you are.
We're top 10 Hulk
Yeah.
podcasts on Apple iTunes right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's fucking bizarre.
Mm.
This is where Old Man Banner says a couple things. He's like, people say I went mad, but who else was I going to mate with beside my cousin? The idea is all these inbred kids came from having sex with She-Hulk. You don't get freaky inbred kids necessarily from first cousins. I'm not advocating it, but it's just it's true.
That
you know?
sentence has the same energy as announcing that you know the age of consent in your state.
I know it does, but I'm just saying. I'm not happy about it. I just had to point it out. Like,
I mean,
you don't get
Gary.
inbred
think
kids
the-
in one generation.
Yeah, I
from
think the
this.
implication is this is not one generation of Hulks.
no,
No.
it's 50 years.
No,
worth.
this is
think
many
this is at
generations.
least
of
two.
Hulks. Yeah, several generations of Hulks, and they're going to rebuild. His plan to rebuild the Hulk line is to breed with human women. So I don't know why he had to breed with Jennifer Walters, other than just it's edgy Mark Miller stuff.
I think that's pretty much the sum of it. I do like that he picks up a cow and throws it at Wolverine,
Dude,
and Wolverine has to
Yeah.
tear the cow in half. It's just
this poor cow. Very big. Fuck that guy specifically.
right?
Energy to this panel. The cow was like, "What I fucking do?" It's great. Yeah. So the reason why Hulk did all this stuff is because he got bored. He does not like being a supervillain landlord.
Yeah.
And Wolverine's retort to this is, "Shut up."
I mean, he's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong.
He's not wrong.
And he kills Bruce Banner and says, "That's for my wife and kids." Unfortunately, he did not kill Bruce Banner. He just awoke the monster that is the real Hulk. I like this depiction of the Hulk a lot. Like this
me too.
monstrous kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
this is really
Super
good
mutant
stuff.
Hulk. Yeah.
The
This is
best
great.
artists draw the Hulk as an actual monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing all of
it
that.
rules. It's good.
That I can't. Is it it's not World War Hulk, but
The Immortal
the Immortal
Hulk.
Hulk. Yeah, all of that. Reading
That's
that stuff
great.
is just like, oh yes, this is how it should be all of the
That
time.
runs so
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. We'll pivot
I'm
to that
getting
when we
to
pivot
it.
to Hulk entirely.
Exactly.
You couldn't get into it?
No, I'm getting to it. I just haven't gotten to it
Oh, okay.
yet.
Gotcha.
But like,
I
yeah,
think you'll like it.
I'm really looking forward to that. It's high up on.
Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's 50 issues, a self-contained story. It's real trippy and heady and scary and good.
As
Um,
well as
this is
being
where he
a
says people
fantastic
piss-
Thor defender, I'm also weirdly a Hulk defender. I like a lot of Hulk comics. There are more good ones
I
than
don't mind
people
a
think.
Hulk. I just recently read a modern Hulk comic that has the stupidest premise that I've heard of in a comic. Do you folk want to hear it?
Please.
Hit me.
Is it better or worse than
It's-
Venom? Because I'm just curious.
It's less funny than Venom because it doesn't. I mean, I guess it does have a really shitty portmanteau name. It's called Smastronaut.
Oh my lord!
No.
And the idea is that Bruce Banner is in the Hulk's psyche, piloting him like a starship to get away from Earth and go do shit. And there's scenes on the bridge of the starship where it's Bruce Banner talking to all of his like guilt and different representations of himself, and then he's piloting the Hulk, who is controlled by him.
Okay, like that
and
is
it's called
ridiculous.
Smastronaut. It's a pretty fun. The first 6 issues are pretty good, and then it switched into a crossover. So I stopped reading it because I didn't feel like dealing with a crossover.
Sure.
But the first 6 issues were pretty fun, gotta say.
It's in line with Peter David's interpretation on the character, where it was mostly not a perfect metaphor for DID, but like an interesting metaphor for DID.
Yeah, serviceable metaphor. So this is where Hulk says people piss themselves when I get angry. And takes a big bite out of Wolverine. And devours him.
That's the big, do you think this A stands for France moment?
Very similar. Ugh. We cut over. It says 12 hours later. And we find the kid who was sent off to get the Jim Belushi movies came back with and has the Belushi movies, but all his family's all dead. It's really interesting. They turn back into humans when they die. Here, I thought that was fascinating.
Oh, that is kind of interesting. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that really because they were still kind of green tinted. But yeah, they definitely do that.
Yeah. And we get Hulk in Hulk form, just sitting there holding his belly, being like, "It's fine. They killed everybody, but I made him my supper. He's not going to hurt anybody anymore. This is what we do. We're going to go. You and me are going to go make more Hulks."
And the big surprise here is that Hulk's, stomach starts hurting, and it takes the idiot grandchild of Banner to be like, "But wait, if you ate him, he has a mutant healing power." I'm like, I mean, did Banner just forget that would happen?
Bruce
Hulk says his famous line, "You got to be kidding me, you little runt."
Classic.
Awful.
This is
Jesus,
definitely
my
not
guts.
smart Banner at all.
No.
Like, Banner is an
No.
idiot in this comic.
Yeah. Wolverine burst out of him. And that kills him, where Hulk is fucking regenerated from like a single fingernail. Like, this would not kill Hulk.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, I know that's a comic book fanboy complaint, but this allows Wolverine to say, "What's the matter? Something you ate?"
Got him.
All of his clothes having been dissolved by Banner's stomach acid.
Yeah. So
Glad he can still laugh a little. He's been through a lot.
Yeah. How funny is this drawing of this baby Hulk?
Dude, I love this
So
chubby
good.
little.
Yeah. Is one of the most baby sugs
So
thing I've seen since the dawn of the baby
I'm
sugs.
super curious now that you pointed out that the Hulk kids turn into humans after they're dead. But like, what is keeping the baby into Hulk mode? Like, are we just poking the baby a lot?
Babies are pissed, dude.
I mean, the baby looks pissed. Like, the baby, don't get me wrong, the baby looks absolutely livid at what it's happening to it right now. But
You wouldn't like me when I'm cranky. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There are comic. You can read the continuing adventures of him and Banner Jr.
no,
I will
not.
What? But it's like Lone Wolf and Cub. It's like a samurai. Jeremy, Wolverine's
and
like a
Hulk.
samurai.
I can't believe.
Let me
that.
explain.
Yeah.
Please expound upon that.
That's Wolverine's trick, samurai. We cut to him burying his kids, and the whole thing is here he's going to lone wolf and cub. He's going to head out to save the world with a baby Hulk and his baby Bjorn on his baby back.
Yep.
And rides off into the sunset with a tiny Hulk backpack.
On a horse. So he's going to go Red Dead some stuff up. Yeah, this is like exactly what I expected the ending to be, but I still couldn't believe it as I read it. I was just like, oh, so you guys are doing just like the most, okay, cool. All right, well, I guess that's, all right, so this was all, okay, cool. Like, there's this, this was fun to talk about, and it was very entertaining. But man, some of this stuff is just fucking like wretched. You just really got to wonder, like, what was Mark Millar doing to make people trust him enough to give him mainline comic book stories at this time?
I can
Jeremy,
tell you,
it's not trust him. He was a superstar.
Wild.
He wrote Civil War at this point. Yeah.
It's not that he was just being trusted. Like, people like Chuck Austen were being trusted. Mark Millar was a name to sell by. And here's the thing too, is I'm going to say this, we all liked it. And, I'm sure there are people out there who are like, I never liked him. But back in the mid 2000s, like when this came out, this was fresh and neat. This reviewed really well. This was of the time. And it just goes further to back up the 2000s are the nadir of human culture. It never got worse than the years between 2000 and 2010. The music is awful. The movies were awful. All of it was horrible. It is the worst.
I do. I guess I have to say I did
stand
read
with you on movies.
I did read the Ultimates during this time period, whenever that was coming out, because I was hitting the comic book shop every weekend, and I remember being like, "Wow, this is such a cool way to do the Avengers or whatever." Like, I guess I do see in hindsight, you're like, "Oh, okay, well, this is something new."
It hasn't aged super well. Like, now cooler heads have prevailed, right? But I still think the Ultimates has a joy to it if you can engage in that kind of scudge. If you can just be like, yeah, let's be kind of gross.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's something superhero comics needed at that time, because, I mean, the 90s were extreme, but they didn't feel, they weren't a realistic,
they're so boring and
quote
talky.
unquote, extreme.
Yeah. like the 90s are so weird because it was both extreme, but then they were being the drawing was very extreme and the designs are very extreme. And then the writing was Scott Lobdell just writing, doing a Claremont impression, which no one should do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just thousands of words to say something very simple. The fucking phalanx showing up and giving 4-page villain speeches nonstop. Like, it's a bad time for comics.
Yeah. And Mark Miller was one of the first writers to really kind of like pull back on how much dialogue should be in a book. And obviously, like, this is one of the ones where, like, maybe you even put too much dialogue in this one, bud. But
why can you consider less? Yeah.
But he generally was one of the big writers who were moving the needle to a less dialogue heavy version of comic books. Like, Garth Ennis, big inspiration for him. He definitely obviously takes so much from there. And when he was first coming up, he kind of tricked people into thinking he was a Grant Morrison-like. And if you look at it purely on paper, it kind of makes sense. They were also both Scottish dudes, and they knew each other personally. Grant helped him break into the industry. One of their first Marvel works was Skrull Kill Crew.
Yeah, the Skrull Kill Crew. And then they worked together on Aztec for DC, which is The Flash. Aztec, one of the all-time worst superhero costumes I've seen in my entire fucking life. If anybody's not seen Aztec.
Not one of Grant Morrison's best ideas. I'm not even sure where that fucking... Well, I know JLA, but beyond that, bad idea.
Why? I have never seen this dude before, but why does he have... Oh, wow, there's wings on the back.
Yeah.
He's awful.
This just gets worse.
It's not a very good comic either. Like, it's probably my least favorite thing Grant Morrison's ever been involved in.
Yeah, I'd give it that award, I think.
Yeah. Grant Morrison's DC Jobber stuff from that period before he, like the JLA stuff, which I have some affection for, but until he started doing Batman, he didn't find his place, I think, in DC. But yeah, it was at the time we were all under Mark Miller's spell. It's just kind of how it was.
Because like your other extreme end of that was like Bendis, which was nothing but dialogue.
Yeah.
That's kind of
we
that's
also
the
loved.
2000s.
Yeah, which I also like.
I
mean, I have like hardback editions of Powers, and it's sitting right next to me right now.
Yeah,
I was really into that as well. So.
We all love that shit, and then the things just changed. It's a trend. Like, it's cyclical. The style changed, and comics got better. I feel like in terms of like a balance between wordy and big idea, like Jonathan Hickman does that a lot better. There are writers now who can kind of hit that difference a lot better. So.
That's it.
That's about it.
What final thoughts do we have about Old Man Logan? Gwen, do you have anything you would like to add to this before we sign off?
Final thoughts about Old Man Logan. Well, I might be flipping through the solo series stuff just to kind of see how other writers add ideas to this universe. Because I think the universe itself is fun. Let's see, I saw Bendis on that writer's list, and I saw Ed Brisson, so I think those are interesting writers to attach to this universe.
Ed Brisson's that, so
though,
weird.
like, I'm so happy Mark Miller isn't like, oh yeah, he's got his own Jupiter Rising or whatever the hell now, but he doesn't. He's not as big of a part of the conversation, and I'm glad his time has passed for this.
Yeah. For my part, I'm glad to revisit it, but I'm happy to say goodbye. Something I liked as a kid. I probably don't need to read Old Man Logan again. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I am also good. I don't think I will be returning to this anytime soon.
But again, listeners, if you want to read, it takes 10 minutes.
It does. I was very surprised.
That's true.
Because I had a bunch of errands to run this morning, and today has been my first day that I could kind of play hooky. So I was like, I'm gonna kill my errands. I'm gonna kill this comic book, and then I'm gonna play Zelda as long as I can because work has been so crushing that I haven't been able to play lately. And I sat down and I was like, wow, 6 inches and a giant size? Ah, fuck. There goes my Zelda time. And nope, I still had plenty of Zelda time. Found 5 Koroks today. It's all good. So
Hell yeah.
I have no final thoughts, and I have to pee.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say,
I don't have any final thoughts
know.
either. Patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv if you want to support the show, ratings and reviews. Tell whoever's in your bathroom when you go to pee, if that's a thing that you have. Gwen, thank you so much for guesting and for bringing us this comic. We very much appreciate it. Do you want to shout out where you can be found on the internet?
Duckfeed podcasts, I edit those. Patreon supports me too. And I have a band, Trash Sound Conglomerate. You can find us on any of the thingies. And if you want to hang out with me, I'm on the Slack. That's all I got.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back next time with something new that we haven't talked about yet. Bye.
Bye.